Most young investors will prefer to invest into high risk, high reward stocks like Apple and Tesla, and you most certainly can, simply because these are rewarding and you do feel like you're gaining a lot of money in a short space of time. But of course, this comes with high risk, meaning that you can certainly lose a lot more money, and that's perfectly fine because you're young and you do have more time to recover from any losses. However, the issue for me is that this is breaking two rules of investing which I always follow. Rule number one being never lose money, and rule number two is never forget rule number one. Now that is why I prefer to invest in good dividend stocks, because these stocks also have the potential to grow. Hey guys, my name is Sultan if you're new to the channel. So if you're in your 20s, you certainly have a massive advantage over those who are in their 30s when it comes to investing, and those in their 30s have an advantage over those who are 40s when it comes to investing in dividend stocks specifically. So the major reason for this is simply because of the power of compounding. So compound interest is pretty much the idea of having money that helps you to make more money, and the more money your money helps you to recruit eventually helps you to make even more money, and then you have an army of money that is making you even more money than the initial money you were making. Now, although that sounds like absolute nonsense to you, let me break this down to make it a bit easier. Now, whilst you're young, the biggest advantage you have over others is that you have time, and time is your friend. And time in the market plus compounding is exactly what's going to make you wealthy. So for example, there are three friends who decide to begin investing. We have Bob, we have John, and we have Steve. Bob is 20, John is 30, and Steve is 40. They choose to invest in the same stock that gives them the same returns and dividend yield every single year, and this grows at 5%. And there's also average dividend yield of 5% as well every single year. So Bob invests £100,000 for 40 years, and this grows at 5% per year. So his initial investment was £100,000, and 40 years later he ends up with £704,000. So we have John, who starts investing at 30, and he invests £100,000 as well until the age of 60. So this is also going at 5%, and John ends up with £432,194 at the end of the 40 years. So finally we have Steve, who invests at the age of 40, and Steve also invests £100,000 for the remaining 20 years. And 20 years later, Steve ends up with £265,330, and 20 years later his annual dividend is also going to be £13,266. So from this we can see that the £265,000 is definitely not bad. That is a decent growth that he's gained on his overall investment. However, the £13,000 annual dividends that he's going to be getting for his retirement is definitely a bit low, and this isn't enough for him to actually retire with, because £13,000 per year on rent and bills and food, it's definitely not enough. But now looking at John, who invests 10 years earlier, has another extra 10 years to invest. John ends up with £432,000 with an annual dividends of £21,000 to spend every single year. So that is significantly better, and this is all because of the 10-year difference. And lastly we have Bob, who is definitely going to be the most wealthiest of these bunch, simply because his overall investment left him with £704,000 in retirement to live with. So this means he has £35,000 of yearly dividends to live off. So his retirement, he's going to be earning £35,000 to live off dividends every single year. And if he continues to let that grow over time for another 10 years, then we can definitely see that Bob is going to be earning maybe £40,000 every single year. From all of this, we can definitely see that just investing 10 years earlier, just 10 years earlier than somebody else, can give you a massive advantage, simply because of how compound interest works. The more money you have to work with, the more money that money can make you. So that 10 years of money you've accumulated before that other person who's starting, that whole money is going to be working for you to make you even more money, and this continues to grow year after year after year. So having £10 to make you more money compared to having £20 to make you even more money on dividend makes a big difference. But now for the second reason to why you should begin investing into dividend stocks in your 20s is that you also have a lower risk. So as I said before, the main rule is not to lose money, and the second rule is to not to forget rule number one. And one thing I've learned over time is if you do lose 50% on your investment today and tomorrow you gain another 50%, this does not mean that you haven't lost money at all. So having £1 that loses 50% today, you're left with 50p. Now tomorrow that 50p gains another 50%, you are now left with 75p. You did not go back to the initial pound that you had. So for you to actually break even, you would actually have to gain 100% on your investment, and that is much more difficult to achieve in comparison to gaining 50% on your investment. So for that reason, the best way to invest is to invest into established companies. This is because you're not gambling. They already have a long history of business, and they already have a simple business portfolio to follow. You understand what they sell, you understand how they make their money, and it's very easy to just know exactly how how that company works in comparison to investing in a company that might be new, that might be a bit fresh, that you're hoping that they do well. Of course, don't get me wrong, there is a space for this, but of course, if you do want to invest safely and you do want to make sure you continue to earn money, then this is pretty much the best way to go. And to quickly mention, I am not a financial advisor, so be sure to do proper research on every single thing that you are going to invest into, and be sure to remember to never invest money that you are not willing to lose in any investments that you do make. So the best part about dividends investing is that you get paid on dividends no matter what happens. If the stock goes up or down, you continue to get paid dividends, and the best dividends companies are the ones that pay dividends during recessions. No matter what happens with the stock market, they continue to pay dividends, and these are known as dividend king and dividend aristocrat. If you do want to be extremely safe, you want to invest in these kind of stocks, and you also want to invest into ETFs that are also going to be much safer, so that way your whole portfolio is diversified and you know you have strong companies that do not cut their dividends. But the idea of dividends is that this helps you to break even if you do lose money, because you're going to continue accumulating these dividends overall. Now, dividends income also helps you to lose that fear of losing money. So what this is going to do for you is that you know you're receiving dividends anyway, so you'll not be forced to actually just sell any stocks based on emotions, because you know that you are earning money no matter what happens. Even if your stock goes down, you would not feel like you should sell the stock. And when you begin from your 20s, you can earn a lot of dividends simply by doing automatic reinvesting, or even doing this manually. So this is just by reinvesting the dividends you earn straight back into the stocks that you invest, or you can invest into one stock, but the idea is you want to continue to put your dividends back into the portfolio so you can earn even more money every single year. Now, some might say that there's no point investing in dividend stocks at a young age simply because you don't have a large enough capital to invest for you to gain a significant amount of money. Now, this is true, but I believe that any amount of dividends you gain, and just by having time on your side, you can just continue to invest in dividend stocks over and over and over again. And some can say that dividend stocks is too safe to invest into at a young age. Now, this is true. That is why you can also invest in a growth portfolio like I do. And if you do want to learn more about growth investing and see my growth portfolio, then you can be sure to click on this video just right here. Be sure to not forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.